Today is February 9th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It's a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are finishing up There's a Solution, and hopefully we're going to read the Appendix today, talking about the spiritual experience and awakening. Out of the 12 and 12, we're doubling up today because I don't know how to count apparently. I was supposed to read page 50 yesterday instead of just the second half of page 49. So we'll be reading out of step 4, pages 50 and 51. And of course, we'll read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this morning. It's the beginning of a brand new week, but the nice thing is all we have to worry about is today. That's pretty cool. Oh, and also, this is for you, Maggie. I have a new coffee mug. I've got a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, a classic Ninja Turtles one from the 80s that somebody very, very dear gave to me as a Christmas gift, a late Christmas gift. So really surprised me with it yesterday, and this coffee just tastes better. I feel like I got turtle power right now. So with that, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from just the last few days of reading, I love the way this book is laid out because we get the doctor's opinion where they talk about the craving and the obsession of the mind and how, hey, this stuff really works according to what the doctor says. And then in this one, you can have a totally psychic change. There is hope for you, but it's vital to have a spiritual experience. And then I love how this chapter ends where it talks about, hey, we don't own any monopoly on religion or anything like that. So when they talk about spiritual experience, it says here, we think it no concern of ours what religious bodies our members identify themselves with as individuals. This should be an entirely personal affair, which each one decides for himself in the light of past associations or his present choice. Not all of us join religious bodies, but most of us favor such memberships. In the following chapter, there appears to be an explanation of alcoholism as we understand it, then a chapter addressed to the agnostic. So it really kind of opens the door and says, hey, everybody's welcome. This can be for anyone. And what's happening here is they're previewing the rest of the book. So let's finish off the chapter. Further on, clear-cut directions are given showing how we recovered. These are followed by 42 personal experiences. Each individual in the personal stories describes in his own language and from his own point of view the way he established his relationship with God. These give a fair cross-section of our membership and a clear-cut idea of what has actually happened in their lives. We hope no one will consider these self-revealing accounts in bad taste. Our hope is that many alcoholic men and women, desperately in need, will see these pages, and we believe that it is only by fully disclosing ourselves and our problems that they will be persuaded to say, yes, I am one of them too. I must have this thing. All right, my friends, here's a little bonus material. We're reading the Spiritual Experience. This is the Appendix 2, page 567 in the book. And before I read it, I want to amend something. I think I mentioned that Dr. Silkworth was in There's a Solution. And I believe I'm wrong on that. I think it's Dr. Jung that talks about the vital spiritual experience. So I think I said something inaccurate yesterday, which story of my life. But anyway, this is the Spiritual Experience, Appendix 2, page 567 and 568, talking about spiritual experiences and awakenings. The terms spiritual experience and spiritual awakening are used many times in this book, which, upon careful reading, shows that the personality change sufficient to bring about recovery from alcoholism has manifested itself among us in many different forms. Yet it is true that our first printing gave many readers the impression that these personality changes or religious experiences must be in the nature of sudden and spectacular upheavals. Happily for everyone, this conclusion is erroneous. In the first few chapters, a number of sudden revolutionary changes are described. Though it was not our intention to create such an impression, many alcoholics have nevertheless concluded that in order to recover, they must acquire an immediate and overwhelming God consciousness, followed at once by a vast change in feeling and outlook. Among our rapidly growing membership of thousands of alcoholics, such transformations, though frequent, are by no means the rule. Most of our experiences are what the psychologist William James calls the educational variety, because they develop slowly over a period of time. Quite often, friends of the newcomer are aware of the difference long before he is himself. He finally realizes that he has undergone a profound alteration in his reaction to life, that such a change could hardly have been brought about by himself alone. What often takes place in a few months could seldom have been accomplished by years of self-discipline. With few exceptions, our members find that they have tapped an unsuspected inner resource which they presently identify with their own conception of a power greater than themselves. Most of us think this awareness of a power greater than ourselves is the essence of spiritual experience. Our more religious members call it God consciousness. Most emphatically, we wish to say that any alcoholic capable of honestly facing his own problems in the light of our experience can recover, provided he does not close his mind to all spiritual concepts. He can only be defeated by an attitude of intolerance or belligerent denial. We find that no one need have difficulty with the spirituality of the program. Willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness are the essentials of recovery, but these are indispensable. And here's a quote from Herbert Spencer. "There's a principle which is a bar against all information, which is proof against all arguments, and which cannot fail to keep a man in everlasting ignorance. That principle is contempt prior to investigation." Out of the 12 and 12, we're on step 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Page 50. By now, the newcomer has probably arrived at the following conclusions: that his character defects, representing instincts gone astray, have been the primary cause of his drinking and his failure at life. That unless he is now willing to work hard at the elimination of the worst of these defects, both sobriety and peace of mind will still elude him. That all the faulty foundation of his life will have to be torn out and built anew on bedrock. Now willing to commence the search for his own defects, he'll ask, just how do I go about this? How do I take inventory of myself? Since step 4 is but the beginning of a lifetime practice, it can be suggested that he first have a look at those personal flaws which are acutely troublesome and fairly obvious. Using his best judgment of what has been right and what has been wrong, he might make a rough survey of his conduct with respect to his primary instincts for sex, security, and society. Looking back over his life, he can readily get underway by consideration of questions such as these. When and how and in just what instances did my self-pursuit of the sex relation damage other people and me? What people were hurt, and how badly? Did I spoil my marriage and injure my children? Did I jeopardize my standing in the community? Just how did I react to these situations at the time? Did I burn with a guilt that nothing could extinguish? Or did I insist that I was pursued and not the pursuer, and thus absolve myself? How have I reacted to frustration in sexual matters? When denied, did I become vengeful or depressed? Did I take it out on other people? If there was rejection or coldness at home, did I use this as a reason for promiscuity? Also of importance for most alcoholics are the questions that they must ask about their behavior respecting financial and emotional security. In these areas, fear, greed, possessiveness, and pride have too often done their worst. Surveying his business or employment record, almost any alcoholic can ask questions like these. In addition to my drinking problem, what character defects contributed to my financial instability? Did fear and inferiority about my fitness for my job destroy my confidence and fill me with conflict? Did I try to cover up those feelings of inadequacy by bluffing, cheating, lying, or evading responsibility? Or by griping that others failed to recognize my truly exceptional abilities? Did I overvalue myself and play the big shot? Did I have such unprincipled ambition that I double-crossed and undercut my associates? Was I extravagant? Did I recklessly borrow money, caring little whether it was repaid or not? Was I a pinch penny, refusing to support my family properly? Did I cut corners financially? What about the quick money deals, the stock market, and the races? Businesswomen in AA will naturally find that many of these questions apply to them too. But the alcoholic housewife can also make the family financially insecure. She can juggle charge accounts, manipulate the food budget, spend her afternoons gambling, and run her husband into debt by irresponsibility, waste, and extravagance. But all alcoholics who have drunk themselves out of jobs, families, and friends will need to cross-examine themselves ruthlessly to determine how their own personality defects have thus demolished their security. "24 hours a day, February 9th. AA thought for the day. In the past, we kept right on drinking in spite of all the trouble we got into. We were foolish enough to believe that drinking could still be fun in spite of everything that happened to us. When we came into AA, we found a lot of people who, like ourselves, had had fun with drinking, but who now admitted that liquor had become nothing but trouble for them. And when we found out this thing had happened to a lot of other people besides ourselves, we realized that perhaps we weren't such odd ducks after all. Have I learned to admit that for me, drinking has ceased to be fun and has become nothing but trouble? Meditation for the day. The lifeline, the line of rescue, is a line from the soul to God. On one end of the lifeline is our faith. On the other end is God's power. It can be a strong line, and no soul can be overwhelmed who is linked to God by it. I will trust in this lifeline and never be afraid. God will save me from doing wrong and from the cares and troubles of life. I will look to God for help and trust Him for aid when I am emotionally upset. Prayer for the day. I pray that no lack of trust or fearfulness will make me disloyal to God. I pray that I may keep a strong hold on the lifeline of faith. Daily Reflection, February 9th. Getting the spiritual angle. How often do we sit in AA meetings and hear the speaker declare, "But I haven't yet got the spiritual angle"? Prior to this statement, he had described a miracle of transformation which had occurred in him. Not only his release from alcohol, but a complete change in his whole attitude toward life and the living of it. It is apparent to nearly everyone else present that he has received a great gift, except that he doesn't seem to know it yet. We well know that this questioning individual will tell us 6 months or a year hence that he has found faith in God. The Language of the Heart, page 275. A spiritual experience can be the realization that a life which once seemed empty and devoid of meaning is now joyous and full. In my life today, daily prayer and meditation, coupled with living the 12 steps, has brought about an inner peace and a feeling of belonging which was missing when I was drinking. Okay, my friends, that concludes today's reading. And man, I know it was a heavy day of reading, but it was all great stuff. Like I said, I love that There's a Solution just previews the rest of the book. I really do feel like this book just ordered really, really well. But if I could just talk about one today, I guess it'd be the daily reflection. I'll be honest with you guys. I think I might have shared this before, but one of my goals in life, ever since 3rd grade, is I wanted to be a professional writer. All throughout my life, I would write off and on, and I even took a year off from my occupation and took a different job that I thought would give me some more time at home to write. Well, it turns out I was wrong there, but I did try to write as much as I could that one year. I think it was 2014. And I didn't like the story that I wrote. And I just kind of threw my hands up in the air and said, wow, I took a big risk here. Gave up a career that I love to try to write some more. And just kind of took a 9-to-5 for a year. And I couldn't get the job done. So honestly, I would look at my life a lot of times, and I would see myself as a failure. However, thanks to the steps, and thanks to washing, rinsing, and repeating, everything the big book tells me to do, and the fellowships and everything, and just hearing other people's perspectives, I started looking at my life differently. And I started looking at the basics. So today, for instance, it is 4:40 in the morning as I'm recording this, and I'm sober today. I was sober yesterday. I looked through my phone at thousands of photos of my family in the last 7 or 8 years, and I was sober during all those memories. I have a beautiful wife who's my best friend. 2 beautiful, healthy children when we were told we could never have children. I have a quaint little home here in the rolling hills of Tennessee. I've got a job that it enables me to work the program every single day. I've had friends in the fellowships and outside of the fellowships that know the good and bad and ugly about me, and yet still choose to have my back. That I could trust when stuff hits the fan to be there, and I would be there for them. But the point of me listing all these things off is, I'm not a failure. I'm not perfect, but I'm perfectly human. And I didn't know these things. I used to always look at the glass half empty. But thanks to the steps, thanks to the fellowship, I purposely look for the glass half full, or just that there is a glass with water in it. Just accepting that. But really, when I go through the inventory of all the things that are good in my life, how could I ever think that life's awful and that I'm a failure? And I thought sobriety was just about not drinking. But I think that's what this reading in the daily reflection was talking about. Sometimes we don't see the miracle right away, but when you really intentionally look back on your life, you like the old saying, hindsight is 20/20. I can see the way my higher power, who I call Jesus, has worked in every area of my life. Awesome stuff. But anyway, my friends, I have rambled on. We're getting up on 20 minutes here. I apologize, but I hope you all have a great day today. If you are sober today, I hope you realize that you're a miracle. And those who love you are very proud of you. And if you're not sober today, you're a miracle as well. You're perfectly human. And you are worthy of recovery, and you don't have to do it alone. We're in this lifeboat together, and there's so many resources out there. Nowadays, it's a beautiful thing here in 2026. So get the help that you need today. It could be the beginning of a brand new life. But with that, my friends, I hope you have a great one. And if we are given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.